Hey, this is Tim with TM Media, and I wanted to discuss a question I get asked a lot, and that's basically how do I get into a store? It's either how do I get into a store from a startup, and how do I get into more stores from a existing client or existing manufacturer? And there are a lot of variables, and this is a piece of it I want to discuss. I think this is just very overlooked piece, and that's your product branding. There are variable I've looked at a couple of these sites on giving you tips on how to get into a retailer, and one of them is Know Your Retailer. Yes, there is a difference between Whole Foods and Kroger, and you have to kind of get a feel of what type of products they carry. You have to know your product. If you've been in manufacturing for a few years, I'm assuming you know your product very well. In fact, that's a problem with some. I'll talk to that in a minute, because that can backfire on you too, as far as knowing your product too well. Price points. I mean, there are different factors on this, but one of the most overlooked ones is the product branding. I've seen manufacturers spend $200,000 or more on labeling equipment, but they spend under like $2,000 or $3,000 on their product brand and their message. And that really doesn't, I mean, there's got to be more of a balance there, and there's got to be more investment put into your product brand, because that is your message, and that's what they're going to look at. That's what the new consumer that's attempting to look at your product, in a split second, they're going to see that and make their decision. So, going back to knowing your product too well, what happens is, and I've discussed this in previous videos, when you know your product, there's a bias there, and you very rarely take an objective look on your product. For instance, if you're a honey company and your whole niche is, well, we're local and we're selling honey. Well, if you have 10 or 50 other honey companies selling local, well, I mean, you're pretty much at a level playing field. If your product brand shows better, if you have better shelf appeal, if you're connecting with the consumer's emotions better and faster, more efficient, then you have something to sell, more of a benefit, and you have leverage. So that's just a huge benefit when you have a great product brand. I don't care how wonderful your product is, you need to sell it through your label. I've seen people, local is a big seller and to local stores, but long term, it's really hard to keep it going. I've been asked by some local manufacturers, how do I do less demos? I'm killing myself by doing all these demos and getting people attracted to my product. And my answer is, let your product sell itself, rather than you traveling all over the world trying to sell it door to door. Because basically that's what you're doing. You're going to every store, sitting there trying to say, hey, try my new mustard, or whatever it may be. And it's just tons of work. If you can make your product do the selling, and you can sit back and let your label and your product brand do the selling, that would be the best case scenario. I'm just checking out some more of my notes here. When a grocery store is looking at you, because I've heard tons of people say, oh yeah, Whole Foods is looking at me. Oh, or Kroger is looking at me. Well, there's a lot of stores out there that will put you on a list, and they will say, yeah, we're going to look at you. We're taking a look at you. We'd like to have some samples. That's another point, is not only do you have to get in the store, you have to also sell the buyer on your product, and they have to envision what this thing is going to look like on the shelf and how it's going to appeal to consumers. Is it the right match for their store? Does it look like it has integrity? Does it connect with the consumer? Bottom line. And does it have a backbone? Does it build a case for why you need to buy this product? What else? And then once you get into the store, you have to stay in the store. So that's another reason. If you get past the buyer, you're in the store. Let's say you're in Whole Foods, great. Depending on the store, you're either paying them premium for shelving, they have you somewhere, and they're just taking a percentage of your sales, and they might have you on the top shelf one day, and then they might stick you at the bottom depending on how your sales are. And I've seen it happen. I've seen people just sit there and say, well, we started local, we've gained this traffic, and we're in the stores now, so we're like set. And I see their product dwindle down in quantity, dwindle. And before you know it, they got two slots left of space, or they have one bottle in one single row of product, and that's it. And they're pretty much are ready to go out the door. So consider these factors. Consider your product branding, and really put some effort and investment into it. Again, there are many other factors also to look at, because you could have the best branding in the world, but if your product stinks, it won't sell either. So I'm not saying this is going to transform everything in your life, but this is a major thing that is just kind of put to the side and just kind of an afterthought. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informative, and I look forward to sharing more information with you soon.